Ruchi Bhatia caught up with M. Ravi Kanth, who's the Chairman Managing Director. Let's hear out some of the key takeaways. Ruchi.
Havan, in fact, we are joined by the CMD of Hudco, and this after, as you very clearly pointed out, Hudco did see a bumper demand, a lot of appetite in the primary market for this mini Ratna. In fact, sir, many thanks for speaking to us at ET. Now, let me first begin by talking about, in fact, congratulating you for a very strong subscription number that we saw yesterday. Help us understand what is the kind of outlook that you have for the company over the next 3 to 5 years.
So thank you very much. Let me appreciate and congratulate all the investors who have reposed great faith in government company Hudco, which is 47-year-old, serving housing sector and as well as urban development sector. The IPO highlights, I would like to state that it got oversubscribed by 79.5365 times. Exact figure, and then more than 20 lakh applications. It is a record, and QIBs more than 55 times, and NIS more than 330 times, and then retail response was excellent, more than 10 times. It is a great faith people have shown, investors have shown, and we would like to live up to their expectations. Hudco, as a government company, has a proven track record of making profit and paying dividend since inception. That is, it came into being on 25th April 1970 to basically cater to the needs of the economically weaker sections and low income group housing, the lower strata of the pyramid. And the outlook for Hudco is going to be very, very positive, because the response for housing sector has been increasing, and the rules and regulations in the form of RERA have been streamlined and strengthened to protect the interests of the consumers and then the people who are looking for a shelter. Right. In fact, the basic necessities of a human being are roti kapda makan, and the house is the biggest.
Right. That's a very valid point that you raised, that given the fact that we see the big push from the government, especially on the housing side, we will see a lot more potential for Hudco. But help us understand, what is it that differentiates Hudco from other financials?
Hudco is a unique organization with a proper blend of unique blend of housing as well as urban infrastructure. Very few companies will have this kind of product mix of housing and urban development, as well as consultancy, research and training, various activities. Hudco mandate has mentioned. We have 8 main objectives and 20 ancillary objectives covering so many activities, and the visionaries of Hudco have given a huge responsibility and mandate. We have been fulfilling. And then comparables, I don't think that you have any other organization which can be easily compared, because I believe that the government of India won't create 2 organizations for the same purpose.
But before we started this interview, you did tell me that Hudco is in talks with a lot of other state governments also. So where do you see the incremental demand and opportunities really coming from?
All the state governments are very proactive and development oriented to provide the basic needs to their citizens, and housing is their top priority. They have come out with urban housing, rural housing in various names. For example, in Andhra Pradesh, NTR Rural Housing Scheme, Mukhyamantri Sahari Awas Yojana, like that they have. In addition to the Government of India Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, PMAY, which has been launched on 25th June 2015, has 4 verticals in it. It is a combination of 2 schemes. One is a central sector scheme, that is called CLSS. The other 3 verticals cover the centrally sponsored scheme, which means that they will get implemented by the state government's involvement. Whereas for the credit linked subsidy scheme, Hudco has been chosen as a central nodal agency for releasing the subsidy, which is 2.3 lakh for a housing unit. It is the highest subsidy the government of India is giving this time to encourage housing. That will benefit Hudco to grow in this housing sector.
So how do you believe the product mix will change? Because the government is focusing a lot on affordable housing. They're also focusing a lot on smart cities. So what is the kind of contribution can we see that Hudco will have with respect to the government's flagship programs?
When I mentioned a unique blend of housing and urban infrastructure, to put it in my own words, I would like to say that housing is a fruit of infrastructure. Infrastructure is a root of housing. Both are interlinked. One will not be there without the other. So when there are flagship programs contemplated by state governments and then Government of India for housing, at the same time it is implied that they need to provide infrastructure as well, like water supply, sanitation, sewerage, roads, power, water supply. So there is no area in which Hudco has no role. It can cover all areas of infrastructure as well as housing. As of now, the product which we mix you are talking is that we have 30 to 33% of housing and 65 to 67% of infrastructure. Because infrastructure projects are generally big, housing projects especially for economically weaker sections and LIG. Now Government of India on 31st December, Honorable Prime Minister has extended the subsidy they are giving under PMAY to MIG1 and MIG2 categories also. That will give a big boost to housing. So slowly the shift may be little more towards housing and it can roughly come around 40-60% to that extent.
But help us understand on the growth, on the growth rates in the near term, because we were talking about how the ROEs and the AUMs of the company will significantly change in the near term because of the roadmap that the company has. Shed some light on that.
Hudco, as I told you, 47-year-old organization has seen several, growth, ups and downs, and lending business itself is a very risky business. It is a money business. So you have to be very careful and cautious while giving the loans. The money which you are giving is able to give you the returns, required returns, able to come back. As of now, we have NPAs to the tune of 6.8%. And the details were given in RHP, IPO, made public. But NPA, that net NPA is 1.51%, which means that whatever the revenues we are earning as per the regulatory measures, regulatory norms like provisioning, we are keeping aside for meeting with these NPAs, and they are technical NPAs. They are not strictly NPAs and all that, gone money or lost money. There is a delayed payment beyond 90 days. It will attract as an NPA, but it doesn't mean that the asset has gone or product is not recoverable. So
from the current 6.5% on the NPA level, how do you plan to reduce it? What is the kind of roadmap that you have? Because recently the government also announced an ordinance to deal with the NPAs that will strengthen the RBI's role, so to say. So how will things really change, on that front?
The recovery laws are very stringent. And we have debt recovery tribunals, debt recovery appellate tribunals, SERFASI Act, and the state government machinery. We have a pan-India presence with 21 regional offices and 11 development offices, and we have a very good understanding with the state governments. We are mostly lending to the state governments so that the security norms are very, very stringent, like we take the government guarantee, and then we also expect them to keep the budgetary provision. And whenever there is a little gap and all that, we will ask them to open an escrow account. Besides these things, we also have one-time settlement norms. Okay. OTS guidelines, our NPA committees are there. We are making it very effective, and then we are hopeful that the NPS will further come down. And also the companies which you have, they are all mostly the past. It is a thing of past.
Right.
when we have as a small consortium member, when we joined in the last decade, when the power sector was in boom. So we have just taken a 5% share of that entire loan portfolio which big companies are giving and all that, thinking that we will get little higher rate of interest to subsidize the economically weaker sections and then the lower income groups.
Right.
It was like a a wise thinking that sometimes it will work out, sometimes it may not work out, but we are all very effectively pursuing to reduce our NPAs.
So do you also have a project monitoring group, so to say, that will monitor these NPAs and also will monitor the recovery?
Yeah, actually the appraisal norms of Hudco are very stringent.